Bonjour, comment allez-vous aujourd'hui? Moi, je vais bien. Welcome to lesson number 18, the big mess, because it's les verbes irréguliers, troisième groupe. Irregular verbs, third group. But before we start this mess, I would like to ask you some questions about possessive adjectives. How would you say my head? Ma tête. Because head is feminine, so it's ma tête. Now, my ears. Mes oreilles. Ears is plural, so mes oreilles. What about my dog? Mon chien. And now, how would you say my shoes? No, sorry, your shoes. Your shoes. Tes chaussures, or if it's formal, polite to someone you don't know, vos chaussures. Tes chaussures using tu and vos chaussures using the vous. As chaussures is plural, you have to use tes or vos. How would you say your brother is watching TV? Ton frère regarde la télé, vision, or la télé. It's the short word for television, télé. And now, how would you say my mother and my father are old? My mother and my father are old. Ma mère et mon père sont vieux. Ma mère et mon père sont vieux. Now, let's review some adverbs. If you can make it, how would you say fortunately? Heureusement. What about never? Jamais. And now, everywhere. Everywhere is partout. What about yesterday? Hier. Hier. What about really? Réellement. And now, the last one, perhaps. Or maybe. Peut-être. So if you have made some mistakes, do not hesitate to review the adverbs and the possessive. If you're okay with that, we can move on to this big mess, as I told you, lesson 18, irregular verbs. So this is the third group verb. Basically, it's all the other verbs except the one ending in ER and IR that ends in ison with nu. So it's a big mess. The ending follows this pattern. S for I, tu takes an S, il, elle, on takes T or D, nous takes ONS, vous takes a Z, and il or elle plural takes ENT. Except pouvoir, vouloir, and valoir that we're going to see after. Let's have a look. This is an overview of all this big mess. First verb, prévoir or croire. Verbs ending in war or war, they drop the I and they replace it by Y with nous and vous. Let's have the example. Je prévois. I predict or I plan. This verb also means to plan. Je prévois. Tu prévois. Il, elle, on prévoit. And here, nous prévoyons. So the I is replaced by a Y. Vous prévoyez. Il, elle prévoit. Make sure you don't say prévoie. Prévoit. Then we have croire, to believe. Croire. Je crois. Tu crois. Il, elle, on croit. So, first, second, third, and last are pronounced the same way. Nous croyons. Vous croyez. Il, elle, croit. Now, the verbs ending in indre or oindre, like craindre or peindre, to fear, to paint. You drop the D from the infinitive. It gives je crains, tu crains, il, elle, on craint, nous craignons. Remember the sound in Kenyan? Craignons. Vous craignez, il, elle, craignent. So for the three last person, it's like GN sound, ny. For the verb to paint, je peins, tu peins, il, elle, on peint, nous peignons, vous peignez, il, elle, peigne. The stem spelling is very irregular. Unfortunately, you have to learn it by heart. Let's see another category. Verb in dre, like mordre, to bite, or vendre, to sell. Je mords. So these ones keep the D except prendre, to take. We will see this on the next slide. So we keep the D. Je mords. Tu mords. Il, elle, on mord. Nous mordons. Vous mordez. Il, elle, mordent. To sell, vendre. Je vends. You keep the D and you add an S. Tu vends. Il, elle, on vend. Nous vendons. Vous vendez. Il, elle, vendent. Dormir. Courir. So we could think that they are part of the second group, but when you look at the first person plural, it gives nous dormons and not nous dormissons. So it's part of the third group. So verbs in IR, nos, y sont, and ici for nous and vous, but irregular forms. Je dors, I sleep. Tu dors. Il, elle, on dort. Same pronunciation for the three first person. Nous dormons. Vous dormez. Il, elle, dorment. What about to run? Courir. Je cours. Tu cours. Il, elle, on court. Same pronunciation. Nous courons. Vous courez. Il, elle, court. You have to learn it by heart. So you can print this lesson and read it whenever you can. And let's have a look at the third category. Moudre, to grind. I barely use this verb, but just for you to know. Coudre, to sew. Verbs in oudre keep the D for 1, 2, and first, second, and third person singular, but irregular for first, second, third plural. Je moue, tu mous, ils, elles, on moue. And here we have nous moulons, vous moulez, ils, elles moulent. Coudre, to sew. Je couds, tu couds, ils, elles, on coud. Nous cousons, vous cousez, ils, elles cousent. Now, verbs in tre drop a T for first, second, third singular. For example, to beat, battre, or to put, mettre. Je bats, tu bats, ils, elles, on bat. Nous battons, be careful, double T. Vous battez, ils, elles battent. Je mets, verb to put, mettre. Je mets, tu mets, ils, elles, on met. Nous mettons, vous mettez, ils, elles mettent. So it's another view of what the third group looks like. Unfortunately, you have to learn these verbs. In this table, it's some very important verbs that are part of the third group. We've previously seen aller, ending in ER, but it's an exception. It's not from the first group, but third group. Je vais, tu vas, ils, elles, on va, nous allons, vous allez, ils, elles vont. This one you have to know by heart. Like all this table, you have to know it by heart, I would say. Faire, to do. Je fais, tu fais, il, elle, or on fait, nous faisons. Be careful, we don't say nous faisons, but nous faisons. Like the sound like about, faisons. Vous faites, ils, elles font. Dire, to say. Je dis, tu dis, il, elle, or on dit. Nous disons, vous dites, ils, elles disent. Pouvoir, to be able to, or can. I can do this. I am able to do this. Je peux. Tu peux. Il, elle, on peut. Nous pouvons. Vous pouvez. Ils, elles peuvent. So repeat out loud after me. Yeah? Vouloir. To want. Je veux. Tu veux. Il, or elle, or on veut. Nous voulons. Vous voulez. Ils, or elles veulent. Vouloir. Valoir, sorry. Valoir. To be worth. Je vaux. Tu vaux. Il, elle, on vaut. Nous valons. Vous valez. Il, elle valent. Savoir, to know. Savoir. Je sais. I know. Tu sais. Il, elle, on sait. Nous savons. Vous savez. Ils, elles savent. Devoir, to have to. Je dois, tu dois. Il, elle, on doit. Nous devons. Once again, it's the sound like about. Devons. Vous devez. Ils, elles doivent. Irregular, doivent. Prendre, to take. Je prends. Tu prends. Il, elle, on prend. Nous prenons. Vous prenez. Ils, elles prennent. Now the verb to put, mettre. We've already seen. Je mets. Tu mets. Il, elle, on met. Nous mettons. Vous mettez. Il or elles mettent. Partir, to leave. Partir. Je pars. Tu pars. Il, elle, on part. Nous partons. Vous partez. Il, elles partent. Boire, to drink. Je bois. Tu bois. Il, elle, on boit. Nous buvons. Be careful here. Buvons. Vous buvez. Ils, elles boivent. So be careful with nous and vous. We don't say nous boivons. Nous buvons. Vous buvez. And the last one, attendre. To wait. J'attends. Tu attends. Il, elle, on attend. Nous attendons. Don't forget to make the liaison. Vous attendez. Or ils, elles attendent. So, it's big. It's a big mess, I assume. You would be brave if you learn them by heart, but this is what you have to do, unfortunately. So, if you're auditory learner, you can listen to this video many times, but if you're a visual learner, you can print this table or this lesson to help you learn these important verbs. They are irregular. What you've learned during this lesson, you've learned that French conjugation, it's a big mess, especially for the third group verbs, because there is no logic. It's all irregular. So you can watch this video as many times as you want, once again, to be able to conjugate some verbs of the third group. I'm not pushing you to learn them all. Just pick up the most important ones before going to the next lesson. À bientôt. See you soon. And be brave. Au revoir.